So would you like to introduce yourself and then you may continue?
Thank you. Good morning, I'm Holly Leahy, Administrator for Lebanon County Mental Health, Intellectual Disabilities, Early Intervention Programs. This morning I'm here for several different items. I'll start with the financial items first. For MHIDEI, we have contract amendments for fiscal year 21-22. There are in total 15 provider amendments. That include 7 for early intervention, 4 for intellectual disabilities, and 4 for mental health. These are primarily due to additional units of service and higher provider expenses. The total contract changes are $105,128. All would be covered under our current allocation through the state and federal funds. We are not seeking any additional county dollars to cover these expenditures.
I'll make a motion to approve the 15 contract amendments for $105,128 total.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved in second. Any question or comment regarding the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, so moved.
The next item are for MHIDEI building amendments. So we continue to try to make improvements as we're able to the agency building at 220 East Lehman Street. So this is kind of a little of everything, if you will note, but should put our building in pretty good shape for years to come. The only remaining item of note would be our roof. That we're going to need to have someone come in and take. We are having issues with drainage, and it is puddling on the flat roof. So that would be the last item.
Holly, excuse me, would you like to describe where your building is located?
Our building is located at 220 East Lehman Street. It used to be an old Catholic school when it was originally built in 1967. And we moved into that building about 30 years ago. It's very close to Henry Houck Elementary School, so it's right on Lehman Street.
Thank you, just for those.
Absolutely,
Thank you.
Sure. The total building amendments is $166,299. And again, all would be covered under our allocation through state and federal funds. We are not seeking any additional county dollars to cover these expenditures.
Motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve those building amendments as presented. Any questions regarding the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Thank you. The next item are MHIDEI contract amendments for our current fiscal year, which just began on July 1 for 2022-2023. There are 11 provider amendments, and that's across the mental health, intellectual disabilities, and early intervention programs. These are primarily due to rate changes prompted by the state and new services for consumers. There are also 3 building-related amendments. One being we switched our HVAC service maintenance contract from County Line Mechanical to GF Bowman. The total for those contract changes is $11,824. And again, those would be coverage through our current allocation. We are not seeking any additional county dollars to cover those expenditures.
I'll make a motion for the $11,824 for the 11 provider contracts.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any questions regarding those amendments?
Is that current allocation federal and state?
Excuse me, Jim, would you be recognized before you just jump in there? Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Current allocation for that, is that state and federal, just state?
It is state and federal dollars. We get those through block grant funding, through state and federal, and then there are some county match dollars that are required for some of those line items, and it's for some of those it's a 10% county match.
Yeah, and one other question, that previous amendment for the building, you said federal, is that federal only, there's no state funding there?
No, that's the same. Would be
It's
our
federal
state and
and state.
federal
Okay.
through our block grant funds.
Thank you.
Important thing is no county. That's kind of
Correct,
Okay.
yes, we're not seeking any county tax dollars to cover those.
And I need to say what else it comes from, so
Of
make sure I get
course.
it all covered. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, there's a yes?
Just, and maybe this is more for commissioners more so than Holly, but either one. These buildings, you know, these various different office buildings outside of the commissioners or the county municipal building, you know, Holly's handling the maintenance and the HVAC contract and the roofing. I mean, is that typically the way it's done with these off-campus buildings where you handle that versus like a county maintenance person or something?
Depends on the scope of it, but yes, they're the frontline folks that can observe what needs to be done, so we rely on them to, if it would get to a point where it needed to be bid or something, then we would go through a process here, but, you know, it's coordinated with us, but not, the directors are primary.
And also on the roof, the impending improvements, would that be covered under your allocation, do you suppose, or?
It depends. We really don't know what we're looking at as far as the roof. That would definitely be a bid process. So if we're looking at needing to put a whole new roof on that building, it will be a very extensive expenditure. And I'm not sure that we'll be able to cover that through state and federal dollars. So that will definitely be a conversation that we would need to have with
Be
the
part of their capital budget
commissioners.
during, yeah.
Right.
And we've replaced some roofs before when insulation was needed, and if that turns out to be the case, then the Honeywell kind of arrangement is a possibility, where there's a guaranteed return on investment, so to speak, by replacing everything and putting in the insulation. That would save heat dollars and that sort of thing. Air conditioning.
Yeah, I do have something. So
Go
I
ahead.
think it was last June or July, we talked and we did a story in Leadtown about the changes you
The
were making
building.
out at the building.
Right.
And D. Sleeman. And I don't believe you were there that day, but I spoke with one of your, the lady who was,
You did.
yeah. Have all those been finished by way of an update? And the second part of that is some of these building amendments covering the cost for those previous projects?
No, these would be new projects. They would not. We have completed all of those projects, and this would be kind of like a second wave that we were able to do due to underutilization during fiscal year 21-22. So we do anticipate that this next fiscal year we hope that we will be back to more typical service utilization. So we are not expecting any additional monies to be available during this fiscal year. So it was really quite an opportunity to have those funds during the last couple of years as we build back after the pandemic.
Yeah, because I think there was painting of walls, doing some repairs works
Yes.
from cosmetic things inside, the new lobby, you fixed the back side of the structure where it was dilapidated. I think some of the brick was falling down.
Yes.
So all that's been done, it's all completed.
Yes, yes, that has been completed.
I forgot to add at the beginning of the meeting that we've had several inquiries just for, Jamie is on with, I'm not sure what device, is he?
Zoom.
Okay, he's on by Zoom, okay. Just so you know, if there's Jamie, if there's anything you need to jump in with to correct anything, please. I forgot to mention that you're participating electronically this morning. Maybe not. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign, so moved.
Okay, and then finally, I'm here this morning to present the Lebanon County Human Services Plan for fiscal year 2022-2023. Just a little bit of information about the Lebanon County Human Services Plan. Before I do so,
I heard you.
Man who needs no introduction, but please introduce yourself.
My name is James Donmoyer. I'm the Director of Lebanon County Drug and Alcohol.
And you are also physically located in the same building that's getting all this
Correct.
attention, yeah.
Correct.
thank you for joining us, Jim. So So the Human Services Plan is something that is required by every county in the state of Pennsylvania by the Pennsylvania Department of Human Services. So it is an annual plan. Each year we receive our guidelines from the Department of Human Services as to what is to be included in that plan. This year we received the guidelines for the plan on June 16 of 2022. We pretty much began writing the plan very quickly because it's a very quick turnaround for that. We're required to have 2 public hearings, of which we held on July 20th and July 27th. And then, of course, to present and speak to the county commissioners with regard to this plan. The final plan is due August 19th, so you can tell that within 2 months we have a very, very quick timeline for completion of all the required elements. We have met all of those required elements. The Human Services Plan is created by the Social Services Departments within Lebanon County. That includes Lebanon County Commission on Drug and Alcohol Abuse, the Mental Health, Intellectual Disability, Early Intervention Programs, Lebanon County Probation Services, and Lebanon County Community Action Partnership. So we all contribute toward the Human Services Plan. I must say, though, that the county staff are developing this plan all year long. So we know that we're going to have to submit a formal plan sometime in the late spring or summer. But we are really meeting with all of our committees, our work groups, our task forces, our advisory boards, stakeholder meetings. There are surveys that are done and needs assessments, and we're utilizing all of that information and placing that into the Human Services Plan. All sections include the services that are provided and the number of individuals served through those services. Also included are services needed for that identified population. So if there's something that we're missing or something that we really need to implement, but we haven't been able to identify the funds, those are in those sections as well. The plan is 69 pages in total. That includes the mental health section, which is the largest, at 34 pages. The intellectual disability section, which is 7 pages. The homeless assistance and human services development funds are 5 pages. Substance abuse is 6 pages. And then we also have our financial section, which is a large spreadsheet at the end, which is 2 very large with our financials for all of those sections and all of the services delivered. I would love to give you tons of information about the Human Services Plan because there's so much in the plan. That's really an overview of what is included in it, following the guidelines. Are there questions with regard to the Human Services Plan? Jim, would you like to add?
I would just like to add that I'm here in support of the plan, and I'm also here if there was any questions related to the substance abuse section of the plan. Like Holly said, it's 6 pages, and there's sections that we had to fill out and complete.
Were there any requests at the hearings that got implemented into the plan?
There was last year. I think it was Commissioner Litz who had a question, and I followed up that question with an answer for last year's report. And this year I included it again in this year's report, even though it's not required information that they requested. I provided it again for you or whoever else.
Okay, well, I wasn't looking for kudos or anything.
I
thought that was quite a coincidence.
That was last year. He admitted that.
Overall, we really didn't have many questions during the public hearings this year. We had a question as to whether or not we were going to be sharing the PowerPoint presentation with everyone who attended, which we absolutely do so. And then with regard to the final plan, if that will be shared. And as always, once the Department of Human Services has approved our final plan, that will be posted on the Lebanon County website for anyone to view the plan. And then certainly we're always available to answer any questions that may arise from reviewing the human services plan.
Thank you.
Anything else? Yes.
Is the plan what drives the funding determination that the state makes on an annual basis?
The plan is really responding to the state as far as how we have implemented their mandates. So how are we doing with regard to there are reporting requirements that we have and whether or not we are following through with that. With perhaps suicide prevention or overdose deaths. There are many things that are required of us throughout the year, and it's really responding as far as how we have done in implementing those things and responding to the state's requests to address what needs to be addressed within our county.
Were there any deficiencies that you uncovered as you developed the plan?
We did not find any deficiencies. Certainly, the service system is always evolving, and I say that because our community and our culture is always evolving. And so as we identify new things that could be implemented in response to evidence-based services or more recovery-oriented services, then that's an opportunity for us to really review the system. What are we currently providing, and whether or not we can actually add to that service line. So I think that it is a really great opportunity to review what we're currently doing, what we have been doing, and perhaps what we need to think about implementing if we have the funds to do so. And I will say that is often the sticking point with some of the more costly of those services and supports that may be requested by the state. But we haven't received additional. We've been flat funded, at least through the mental health system has been flat funded. This would be the 11th year that we've received flat funding through the state and federal monies.
And Holly, wasn't there a 10% cut during that 11-year period?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The 10%
On
cut
top of
actually
that.
happened right before they began the flat funding years. So yes, we were cut 10%, and then every year thereafter, including this year, this will be the 11th year in a row that we are flat funded, so no additional funding. So even though inflation and all the providers and services and supports are more costly to provide just because of inflation, we haven't been able to fully respond to that because our allocation just has not increased to meet the demands.
A lot of that's made up by some of the county support. So
Yes,
it's-
absolutely.
yeah.
And am I right, did I read that you have like 5,040 clients you're servicing, something of that nature? There was a number at the end.
Cumulatively,
Yeah.
yes, throughout all of those programs. So
that's
it's a very
amazing.
large amount. And Commissioner Litz, you bring up a good point in that those numbers are ever increasing to meet the demands and to those that really need services and supports within our community. And that is increasing. Our crisis intervention is seeing extremely high volumes of individuals. On average, we're seeing at least 300 individuals, if not more, in our crisis intervention on any given month. So the numbers are really, really increasing. The volume is quite large.
Who's
And-
been- oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and that's proportional, just an observation, to our increasing population. There's a natural increase in mental health and drug and alcohol needs because of our higher population.
Yes.
I was just going to say that there's such a spotlight been put on MH in so many ways that you would think that someone's attention would be, and I think that, at the state level to recognize what deficiencies we've had in the budget over a decade, it's kind of
Right.
out of touch with the needs. So-
Right. This year, they had indicated that, potentially increased monies for mental health. However, what we see, what was approved in the end, were just one-time monies through ARPA funds that are not sustainable funds. So they will potentially look towards some grant opportunities, but again, they are not sustainable funds. So if we would use those one-time monies, they would create something that simply would not be sustainable without the sustainable funding to do so. So it kind of puts everyone in a difficult position as to how to handle the increased needs and whether or not to implement new and innovative ideas.
Let something go wrong, and that's, yeah. I forget, do we have a motion yet? I don't think so. We need a motion to conclude
A
this.
motion to approve the human services plan.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, so moved. Thank you
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a